Hello and welcome to Spitfire. This is season 2 officially of Spitfire. Why is it the second season? Because we wanted to change things up, and we thought if we do a season every 3-4 months or every half of a game, so this will take us into the next game as well, it would work quite well. So technically this is episode 1, although we've already technically done an episode of season 2, episode 1, so
1.5.
this is 1.5, whereas the last one was 0.5. So we're doing really well in that regard. However, we are back and there is so much to talk about. But before we get into that, my name is Bryce. Joining me, of course, is going to be Chris Tunn. As you can see in the top left-hand side of your screen, he'll be joining in and doing various bits with me. But more importantly, our guests for this week. First of all, TacticalRab is joining us again. How are you, my friend?
Not bad at all. Exams are done for this year of uni. I'm chilling. And yeah, hopefully looking forward to some great cards the next couple of weeks. Exciting time, obviously, with Optic stuff. Maybe not exciting, depending on your perspective.
Yeah,
bad. Yeah.
All good, all good. And of course, not only are we having you on, we are also having Trey, or Zer0, as he is doing, from FaZe, joining us once again. Thank you very much for joining us from across the pond, buddy. How are you?
Fantastic. It's all right. Tunn asked me to join, and I was like...
It's because I got straight and told you my new favourite ICL.
Classic.
I don't think you did.
Yes, I did. I'll go back through the DMs.
Yeah, that was probably some sweet talk. I'm just expecting some cash soon.
You don't need any
Tunn,
more
get
money.
that
You're
fine. Season 2, we'll just give Trey all the money. We'll just keep.
That's right. It's all right, Bryce. You see where Tunn's getting his new bikes from, bro, and you're just sat there and then...
I can't even afford a new haircut. This guy's getting out $5,000 bikes.
All right, you should see it. Yeah, there is a reason I'm wearing a hat right now. Let's just say that.
All right. So topics for this week are quite depressing. It's not a good week for topics. Not in the positive aspect. Anyway, the first one is the biggest story of the week in the past few weeks. It is the potential ending of Optic Gaming, the sell from Infinite Esports over to Immortals. There has been conjecture, there has been speculation, there have been headlines in abundance. But I think we need to start with outlining exactly what is supposed to be happening. Tunn, do you want to just kind of jump in?
Who knows what's happening? Who knows what's supposed to be happening? That's the thing.
Right, I'll tell you what. I'll lay the groundwork.
What is supposed to be happening?
Okay, so it has become apparent that Infinite Esports are looking to sell the Call of Duty roster, and just for legal reasons, everything I say here is speculation and rumor. Nothing is officially confirmed. But from what my understanding is, Optic Gaming are obviously under that Infinite Esports umbrella. Optic Gaming have the LCS spots, and they have various other kind of things within esports. Infinite no longer want them, and I believe they also have a bank loan out against them in collateral for their LCS spot, so they really need the money. And they have been told they are selling to Immortals. Now, where that's supposed to happen tomorrow. The big news has been, of course, that if that does happen, that Optic Gaming may cease to exist as a brand in its entirety. Nobody knows what's happening to the Call of Duty team. Codburner has been saying that they are going to be sold off after Anaheim, potentially making one of the biggest roster manias of our generation. Other than that, we've also been told Optic Hex is trying to put in a counter bid that has so far been unsuccessful, simply because I believe the money involved. And I think that brings us nicely up to where we are now, which is, the potential ending of the Green Wall. For me, I tweeted about this earlier. It's just depressing, regardless of how you look at it and how franchising would have gone. Optic Gaming and Call of Duty Esports have been synonymous with each other for a long time. Rab, what are your thoughts?
I mean, yeah, it's obviously depressing. Like, it's depressing when you look at other organizations that have done a similar thing. Like Envy, obviously, they have investment money from venture capital, and 100 Thieves have gone down a similar route. And a lot of these organizations have been successful off the back of it. But obviously for Optic, it hasn't worked out in terms of the mismanagement that Infinite have led to. And yeah, probably part of the reason that they're having to sell is just because they, as you say, they just don't have the money for it. Because as Hex was saying in the podcast with Hitch, just massively overhired, mistakes made all around. And yeah, obviously not good for Call of Duty, especially if it leads to the end of this team. Of course, the brand Optic Gaming was going to go from Call of Duty anyway at the start of franchising.
Yeah,
it would have still had some still connotations, whereas now this like throws everything in the air. Like I don't know. And also, I mean, there's so many questions right now because if the players are sold off, like what happens to the spot? Like who's going to get the spot? And obviously there's been rumors maybe even of a draft next year, which I don't know the validity of that, whether that's going to be a thing. But if it is a thing, like there's no reason for a team like a Cloud9, for example, to come in and buy the Optic team because they're just going to.
Well, actually, I think
next year.
I have to stop you there because technically that's where I disagree. It would be the perfect time for Cloud9 to buy that team because they have the spot for next year in London Spitfire if they choose to pick up the spot thing, which hasn't been confirmed yet, by the way. I don't know whether they're going to, but it is very interesting everything that's going on because I replied about it earlier and everybody's like not entirely sure what Immortals are going to do. There's been some conjecture going through. Trey, what do you think on the whole situation? Obviously, you're part of a rifle organization. But we're talking more in the overview of potentially the end of one of the biggest brands in Call of Duty esports ever. Could happen tomorrow.
The way I see it, like, obviously there's a lot of debt. I've been involved with a lot of debt, like, org-wise, so I know how that goes.
Yeah.
I think, obviously, Immortals don't really want the COD roster. We know that. Like, that's not their main goal. Their main goal is to get back into League of Legends with the League of Legends spot that comes with Optic. So, I personally don't think they're all going to get sold off one by one. I don't think that's ever going to happen. I don't think it can really, to be honest with you, because if the spot goes, and like I said, I don't think Immortals give a fuck about the COD team. Like, in my opinion. So they're like, it'll either be they'll play under Immortals for the rest of the year, or they'll just go, listen, take the fucking spot and fuck off.
Yeah, I was always thinking to myself, is it not a case of Hex potentially just buying like the COD team and like just keep it as that? Because Immortals,
I think that's what he's tried. I think that's what he's tried doing.
Yeah, because it's not going to be the Optic brand. So if Immortals bought Infinite, what they're losing, like Hex can still own Optic technically. You would think.
It all depends if Immortals wants to work with Hex.
Yeah, but
it all depends whether. I don't know how it works, but in an ideal world, it could be like, all right, we'll take the League of Legends spot. You can take the Optic brand, and we're all good.
Yeah.
And you can take the COD team. Like, that's all we want. We only want League of Legends.
But it's interesting because there are more aspects of this to consider, especially with Overwatch and the upcoming franchises. Now, here's the thing because that's the first layer of it, right? Saying, Hex will get the Optic thing back. Now, I didn't think the Optic brand would technically survive into franchising anyway, at least not in its current form. And here's the reason why. But bearing in mind, this is from what I understand, and I could be completely wrong. The reason that franchises in the Overwatch League are not brands that existed before is to do with the fact that they don't want that overlap of if a team decides to sell off its franchise spot, then you would have an Optic that's not related to Optic, if that makes sense. Like, if you had Optic Gaming in the franchise, and then someone would want to take that franchise at a later spot, hypothetically, and then there was Optic in other esports, you would have two teams, Optic Gaming, not related to each other, one of which locked into a franchise spot, which then would have to rebrand, damaging, obviously, that franchise spot and fans and all that sort of stuff and all that stuff that's supposed to stop with franchising. Or you'd have to buy every single spot and try and continue on that. It doesn't make a lot of sense. So I always thought that if the best case scenario was if them become the Houston Optics or something along those lines, which again doesn't make a ton of sense when you already have the Houston Outlaws. Immortals, also from what I understand, they have LA Valiant, so they don't want the Houston Outlaws probably, or probably sell that spot off regardless as well. So there's the potential for Hex to maybe try and get that money and then put it into franchising next year. Like, that's the only way I see it realistically working. If they go, right, well, we have to sell off the Overwatch spot. Maybe we sell that to Hex, and Hex goes, well, if you're going to do that, I want the Optic brand back. And then that all gets folded into next year, and we see how it goes. But that is based on Immortals playing ball anyway.
Yeah. There's so many different...
and then not
so
many
different moving parts. There's so many. That's why it's hard to sort of predict what's actually going to happen. Because like, there's all these people saying, oh, this is what we've heard, this is what's supposed to be happening. But there's so many different parts to the Optic that have been sold off. Like, what parts does Hex want? What part do Immortals want? There's so many different bits that it could go so many different directions. We just don't really know yet. We don't really know.
Yeah.
And I feel like in the Eavesdrop podcast, just to say real quick, like that if you watch the last 10 minutes of it, like there was not too many positive things that Hex had to say. It was kind of just like, I think it was recorded Sunday, so a couple of days ago. Things may have moved on since then, but it seemed to me listening to it that it was very much like a pretty depressing tone of like, we've tried everything, because of course these conversations have been going on for a fair bit of time now. Yeah. And it did seem like Hex was kind of resigned to a position of, I really just have to see how the next few days goes, and it didn't seem like there was much he felt he could do, all things considered.
No, I got that was the negative for it. Go on, Trey.
I mean, it seems to me that no one really wants to work with Hex, like not in terms of like of how he is, just in terms like that Infinite like company just fucked him over, and I continue to do so.
It does. That is one thing that has come out of all of this, is that Infinite are taking one hell of a beating from the fans, because it does it. So the story that's being kind of put out there is massive mismanagement, just unreal. Like they want to drop the COD team a year ago. Like it's very obvious right now that neither Infinite nor Immortals give a flying shit about the COD team. Like they just don't.
Yeah,
they couldn't care less.
Yeah, I mean, like if the COD team come with Immortals, like go to Immortals, like they ain't gonna like say no to it, because look at the people on that team. It's a winning team, but that's not their main. It's not their main goal of all of this. Their main goal is to get back into League of Legends.
Yeah, and I think that's where a lot of the fans are confused. They're like, "Oh, but it's Optic is so big and it's so massive." It's like, yeah, but that's not their agenda here. It's not buying out. It's buying those spots. It's
which would make you think that Hex acquiring the COD team would be easier. You would think, but I mean, we don't.
He also needs a shit ton of money to do that.
Yeah,
so.
I know.
It's not like Immortals are gonna give him the team for free and the brand for free. Like if anyone can make money out of it, they're gonna try.
Mm-hmm. Well, here's what I realistically think Hex will need to get. Obviously, the COD team contracts back. We haven't even talked about the content creators on Optic yet, which I've been told, or I read about the potential here is that they're just going to basically tell them to go. From what I read somewhere, I can't remember where I saw it, that basically the content creators, if they join Immortals, are essentially finished.
I mean,
or at least to take massive
if they're not an Optic anymore, they're absolutely done for.
Yeah. So Hex will need to negotiate their contracts as well, because Immortals will probably want, their pound of flesh. He would need the branding and the franchise spot for Call of Duty back for this year. This is just this year. He would then need the Houston Outlaws back, because he'd want the money for the franchise, and then he would need more money to buy the franchise spot for Houston Outlaws for next year, because that actually hasn't been announced yet, and is probably one of the reasons why nobody's spoken about Optic actually taking up the buy. Because you remember that was like 2 months ago, people saying, why have an Optic bought a spot? Well, this is the reason. Infinite have no reason to go in and buy a spot, when clearly they're just trying to offload this entire thing.
I mean, they're just trying to make up for lost cash.
Oh yeah, when you put all that money in a bank, was it a 20 million banknote? All the collaterals like the LCS team and everything's under it.
Yeah, I mean, it seems to me like they're just not very smart. And that's.
I think that's honestly like.
It's just a lot. It's just people with a lot of money with no fucking brains. That's all it is.
It's like people coming from other businesses, though. It's like they don't really. It's like the things that they were talking about on that episode with Hitch, like the guys at Infinite expecting the COD team to come into like an office to play in there, so they could be in the same house as like the content creators. It wasn't even soundproofed, and then they're supposedly Hitch and the guys are meant to be working like 10 to 6 every day, no weekends. Like this esports is not a normal job career path. You don't work regular hours. It's not how it works in other businesses. I think a lot of these people have come in with that kind of expectation, hearing about how big esports is going to get. And I don't know, like a lot of people, obviously they're talking about Optic J, right? Ryan Musselman, because he's meant to be kind of the middleman between Hex and the Infinite management. Didn't he
fuck him over?
Well, apparently, like he let down, and because he did an interview, Jay, with Richard Lewis about 7 months ago, talking about, because they had all the debacle with the Optic India stuff and Forsaken cheating and all of this. Terrible, by the way. Yeah, all of this like oversight from Infinite, and he was basically saying like, I should have been more aggressive. I should have stepped in. I should have stood up for what Hex wanted a little bit more. But even the last few months, have we seen any signs that that's happened? It just seems.
I heard he just took a paycheck and ran.
Yeah, because like Hastra, he's got plenty of control at Envy, but it's just like the way, I guess. I mean, Hex, I'm sure, blames himself a lot.
I mean, Hastro's just got good investors though. Like,
Yeah,
it's all about who you work with, and unfortunately, Optic and Hex did not work with the best group of people.
So this is something Richard Lewis said, right? Like, I don't blame Hex in this.
Oh no, of course not.
Hex is like build this up from nothing, and he's got his money out of it, and that's 100% what should have happened. Hex should have gone and had that bank. Like, that is Hex's bank. He's worked for it.
Oh yeah, 100%.
I begrudge him a little bit. I feel slightly sorry now that obviously he's basically seeing everything he's worked for being torn down.
I mean, listen, if he took his money and ran, like, completely left the brand, was like, listen, I'm just done with the brand, I'm retiring from all this, and like, it's fair play. But the fact he even like stayed being like the CEO, like the face of Optic, and all this has happened to him, like, that's where you feel bad for the guy.
Yeah, I mean,
especially with how nice of a guy he is as well. Like, like, he is.
Oh, there's so many stories about Hex just doing things for the community. Like, I remember, what was it, Nick Ward and MarkyB? He just bought their plane tickets for him to get, I think it's like a UMG somewhere. And I think it was like, it was tweeted out briefly by those two, but like, it's something that he just did, and it wasn't even like a big conversation. He just said, "Yeah, I'll take care of you."
Oh, I mean, as soon as the Red Reserve thing happened with the house, he was the first guy to DM me saying, "Is there anything I can do to help you guys out?" And I'm like, I mean, we're just waiting right now, but I appreciate it, because like, you don't really expect it from like, because I know Hex, but like, me and him are not like the best friends. You know what I'm saying? So like, it's just like crazy to see like someone help just from afar.
No, and that's why I feel sorry, because here's the thing: Hex still clearly cares. Like, he clearly does care, and it's not just like him putting it over the fact. You can tell he's a bit broken up by it, and I think 100%. It's a bit like, obviously he has to accept it, right? Like, I'm not going to sit here and pretend otherwise, because when you sell off your stake in something, then you are essentially removing it from your sphere of influence. But I'm not sure he saw this happening to crash and burn within the year or whatever, because that is bad.
Sure. I mean, last year was bad enough for them, and like this year,
started
off on a even worse footing. So it's like, I'm sure he's just, I mean, and all of the guys, because as we talked about earlier, the content creators, like, it's not, you know, it's been a family, I guess, in Optic, and of course, I grew up watching these guys like playing games and stuff and having that content environment, you know, and it's like, obviously, that's something that Optic and FaZe particularly had kind of perfected, and to see it turn into a kind of brand where they're just trying to slap their name on everything, like the Optic India stuff is a prime example of that. Like, and just to see Optic turn into that kind of brand, and the content being much more like corporate and less organic, I guess you could say. It's just like, I kind of led me to fall out of love with the org a little bit. I mean, of course, as you said, as like Hex has done well overall. It's just unfortunate, really.
I think one of the other issues I'm having with this whole situation is, I've seen every fan and everybody put their input in on what could potentially happen. We've done the same thing here. What he could buy, what needs to happen. It's struggle. The bit I'm struggling with is either people are putting too much value or too little value in, and I can't figure out which way it is, on the Optic COD team. Because if Immortals don't want them, and going back and like, we've got until franchising happens in 3 months, like, what is their current value? And I think their most amount of value right now is being under contract to sell to teams when franchising hits. So I that for me has got to be the key thing I'm looking at here. Not, you know, the upcoming spot for champs and all that, you know. It's more, what do these players, what are they worth going forward?
I mean,
and don't get me wrong, that is one hell of a valuable team in terms of buyouts and picking up. There are very few of those players that you wouldn't put a hell of a fee down for.
I mean, Scum's worth 7 figures. I know that for a fact.
Oh, easy.
Oh yeah, easily. It depends the route he takes though, because like, I mean, some people will comment on my videos like, if he does get sold, like, will he retire? Like, does he want to play for another team other than Optic? It's not something that we can say for sure that he wants to keep playing.
I mean, I really don't see him retire when franchising comes around. Like, that's why you blow them. That's why you blow up.
Yeah, that is true. Yeah.
Like, that's where you blow up. That's facts. Like, I don't think he retired. None of them are going to retire. Like,
I mean, here's something
I see Immortals just saying, listen, we'll just What did you do? Like,
I can see that. I would even go so far as to it wouldn't surprise me for Immortals to say and tell them to take a pay cut. And I tell you what, I'll explain. I'll explain that, right? Immortals, if they can, right, in the contracts and whatever. I don't know the legal situation, but here's what Immortals will be thinking: if we're going to keep you on, bearing in mind we are going to pay you the salary or whatever we need to, realistically, if they say no, then the Optic team won't be playing. They would have to go back through the open bracket on their own, except they can't because they're still under contract. So it would mean the entire roster not playing, or those 5 players not playing for the rest of the year when we've got Anaheim, Miami, and Champs coming up.
Yeah,
I don't think that's possible.
Exactly. So that's just not going to happen.
There's no way.
No, I think it's genuinely not possible. Because then there'd be like one less team and everything. Like,
exactly.
This is the thing. That spot, right? You got to remember that spot is not the players; it's the teams.
Yeah.
They could. You're telling me you couldn't find 5 players that wouldn't jump in the league right now to take that slot under Immortals, under Optic, or whatever, because they own it. That's the thing; they own it. You could have anybody jump in there. There are probably
it would depend.
Suicide social media.
It all depends on the situation. Like, I don't know how MOG runs their stuff. Like. All I know is
just drop the whole team sort of thing.
Yeah, all I know is when we were going for our stuff, they said if you sent us an email, we'd have helped you out and got you out your situation, and the spot goes to the players.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, there we go.
Difference then.
So I don't know how it's gonna. Obviously, we weren't getting paid, so that's like a breach and everything. But
yeah,
I think it's also interesting.
I honestly don't know how it was gonna go down, but. There's no way they don't play.
It's also interesting next year, because I don't know where I saw this, if I'm being honest, but someone mentioned something about salary cap. I don't even know if it's like if you don't know what that is, like NFL wise is where I get it from. Is whatever your roster is, you can only pay them so much a year, period. And obviously that means players negotiate various things.
You guys know more about me, apparently.
But I don't know. I can't remember where I saw it. I don't even know if it's real. It might be real. It might not be real. But it's also one of the things like next year, would those big players next year split up and try to look for that more money, or take that pay cut like Tom Brady did? Tom Brady took a pay cut to keep the Patriots competitive, to have a better team.
I mean, it all depends, really.
Yeah.
Like, do you want to win, or do you want to like?
Get paid.
This is where I see it. Yeah, like.
I mean, you ain't gonna get no money anyway. You're gonna get good money.
This is where I see it. Yeah, I could join. Let's say I was a free agent. I could join Midnight and get more than what I'm getting paid on FaZe.
Yeah.
But would I? One, would you be happy?
As well?
One, would you be happy? 2, you'd be on not on a lesser known org.
Yeah.
And
your stock may drop. That's the other thing you got to remember.
I mean, and future. Are you actually winning though? Like, the way I see it, you could probably make more money off winning in terms of than based off salary, depending how much obviously you take it. Yeah. A lot comes of winning, just in case like brand deals and whatnot. Like people want to watch you if you're winning. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
If you're
on Midnight,
if you're not winning, you're irrelevant in my opinion, or close to winning.
Do you know what really sucks is how well 100 Thieves is doing? and I tell you why, because this will be a great time for Nadeshot to come back in and just go ownership with Hex.
Oh.
And then Scum and Crim throw in their millions. Perfect.
How much money do you think Nade has?
Nade's got loads of money. He's
got enough to run 100T and Optic.
He's got investors. They could combine.
Well, just have Drizzy. Just
Nade has got some bank.
No, I know. But
he just calls up his guy Drizzy. He'll sort him out.
Yeah, exactly. But I don't know. For me, it's just upsetting that we could potentially see the end of the Green Wall.
I don't know where the fans go. Maybe that's the next question.
The fans will follow.
The team.
Yeah, exactly. Scamp, because that's the thing. Like when the dynasty was going to break up last year, we were thinking how many Optic fans are going to follow formal? Barely pretty much 0.5% or something like.
Yeah.
So, but this time it's different. Obviously, if the team does stay together, they'll follow the team for sure. But it's like, to what degree are they going to lose fans that just tune in to watch Optic play? Because I do feel like with Optic especially, that is kind of a thing that like people seem like because
It's not even kind of thing. It is 100% a thing.
Yeah,
but there's a percentage that don't necessarily follow the brand rather than the squad.
Yeah, that's kind of what I was going for.
Yeah, I know. There's definitely a percentage who are like that, who have obviously followed them like through other different channels rather than just COD and stuff like that. So I think it's bad for the scene in total, I would say. Well, depending what happens. Well, it's all conjecture, I suppose. We don't really know which direction it's going, and until we see where it goes, we can't really say what's going to happen because there's so many different routes it could go down still.
Yeah, I don't know. I will be curious because it's tomorrow. It's not even tomorrow. Sorry, it's Friday?
31st was when it's going to be finalised.
I mean, we find out a new COD tomorrow, and then we find out if optics still exists Friday. So a hell of a week.
Keep me on my toes.
We find out whether or not the new COD is going to be great, tomorrow, and then we find out whether or not the biggest esports franchise for COD.
Let's be honest, it doesn't matter what we see tomorrow. It tells us nothing in the grand scheme of things.
Might see an ACR or something. You never know.
I never know how good a Call of Duty is until I play it. Right up until I play it, I never know.
No, but this year people are saying it's good, man. So it must be good.
You've not played it, Trey?
Trey probably has. He probably can't tell us.
I have not played it.
Where would I find the time?
Where would I find the time to play it?
That's one thing that annoys me though, is that they're getting NFL players to come out and play it, and it's like, bro, come on.
No, I don't mind it for advertising.
For advertising.
It's advertising. You just got to accept it. Plus, a lot of the current pros, let's be honest, right now we're basically in the most important next 3 months of the entire season.
Oh,
Most pros are just like busy anyway. They got the Pro League, we're going to Anaheim, then Miami, and then bloody champs. Like it's a lot of money for the next 3 months. They probably don't care that much considering there's a 2-month off period at the end. I don't know.
What am I going to do in that 2 months, Bryce?
You're going to play the new game and play GBs with me. It'd be great.
Pro clubs.
Not with you, Tunn. You are.
No, not with me. my guy's not that good, mate. He's not that quick.
All right. While we're on topic, let's move on to our second kind of topic before we get too far out of the realm of the optic. The downfall of LG. I don't really remember a time when a team has fallen off a cliff quite as hard from winning a chip to being shit. I'll be honest with you.
It's mental, isn't it?
I mean, I don't know. It's clearly obvious that team is waiting on Roster Mania like as a life raft because they clearly don't. And that bothers me more than it should do.
Mm-hmm.
Because if a team like that can't fix its issues, it's mad. Like next year, you're gonna have to just figure shit out. You can't. But it looks like they've given up. That's what it looks like. It looks like they've gone. Oh well, after the.
Oh yeah.
I mean,
it's all gone. It's all gone to bits.
You don't know everything that goes on behind closed doors.
No,
and I'm sure Trey probably knows more than we do. But at the same time, like, this is one of the reasons that you should have picked up a better sub, like for shit like this. Like, I know it's like a lot of people say, "Oh, it's not important," and etc. etc. But now they're having to, and that's nothing on Ricky. You know, like he didn't play bad the other day when they played, but they're now gonna have to play Anaheim with him, and it was like sort of a sacrifice of, okay, do we drop gunless and try and do things with Ricky, or do we like just try and figure this shit out and try and keep going with gunless? But as I said, we don't really know what's like sort of exactly went on in the background. But the team is, as the topic says, completely in the bin at this point.
People have been tweeting out like, and here's the thing, like, here's what gets me is you hear so many different stories and people like going mad. It's like, oh, gunless went to EDC, and then his team were like, yeah, he did tell us, and we're like, oh, well, still, and I'm like, we can't be angry if the team's okay with it. Although
exactly, that lies on the team, not just him.
I mean, were they okay with it?
Well,
yeah, that's also fair.
Bryce, Mike.
Your mic's dead. Yeah, it's all good. Are we back?
Yeah.
Zoom,
Zoom hates me.
Listen, well, I don't like.
I streamed for 8 hours the other day, not a single mic issue. Zoom hates me.
I spoke to Slack yesterday, Jerry.
Yeah.
I said to him, I said, how do you win a chip and end up like this? And he goes, I have no idea.
It's the rampart.
It's true. It's true though. Like, how do you win a chip and then the vibes just go like this in like 1 or 2 months? It's crazy. It's crazy.
But it bothers me more because this shouldn't realistically be feasible in this day and age. You've got a coach. We know how important stuff is at the moment. Like next year, you're going to have to fix issues within the team before because I feel like this is the current mindset of a lot of corporate.
Have 2 or 3 subs next year, though, Bryce.
Yeah, yeah. I feel like this is the current mindset of a lot of COD pros, and not all of them. Is as soon as shit starts to go downhill, as long as they're playing okay, they're like, well, fuck him, we'll get someone better. And that's the truth. And they're like, oh, I can't do nothing, man. Like, especially when they lose, it just gets worse and worse. They don't want to fix their issues. They just want to blame somebody. Like, they're always looking at somebody else.
I think at some point it's past the point of no return, you know. There's one interesting point here. I don't know if this contributes at all, but it's the fact that this season there's 10 team playoffs. So top 4 from each division, but also anyone from the bottom 4 can qualify. So like, even though LG get their winning money for like winning every series, you get like $500 each or something like that. Whatever it is, Trey, I'm not 100% sure. But like, even if they lose every single series and just completely shit the bed for the rest of the league, they can still qualify for playoffs, you know. So it's like somewhere maybe there's a thinking of like, well, this doesn't really, like, we only have to win 2 series against some Division A and Division B team that's also in the bottom 4, and we can get to playoffs anyway.
Right now, it's really, like I think everyone's past the point of money, to be honest. Like, like, these are 2 of the biggest events of the year. This is where your stock goes up or down. You know what I'm saying? This is where you make your mark for like being on that franchising team, like the best one there is possible. Blah, blah, blah. And I don't know. I said, like, I was speaking to Jerry last night, and I was like, I have no idea what you can do, because
it's so long until the roster change as well.
I mean, right now the way it is, they probably have to play Anaheim with Ricky.
Yeah.
Which Ricky's not like dreadful. He's just he's just not gunless,
Pierce, is he?
Yeah, exactly.
And obviously, I feel like a team like them need a Pierce.
Do you feel?
Yeah, 100%.
I feel like I mean, this might sound weird, but winning Fort Worth was maybe one of the worst things that could have happened to that team, in the respect that
it all depends on how the vibes were before.
Yeah,
like if they wanted to,
because there was rumors of changes before that.
Yeah, if they wanted to get rid of someone and then played bad, and then they made the roster change, and they got better, that probably could have benefited them.
But they were playing bad, won Fort Worth,
and then you're like, oh, what can we do now? We must be unreal.
Yeah, exactly. It's like what happened to Splice at London last year.
Yeah,
things were going bad. They got a second. It was like, oh well.
If Splice plays bad, they probably get Matty, and then we don't get Matty, and then it's just like that.
Yeah, that's what Ray had said.
And then me and Matty probably don't play together today.
Yeah, it's true. See, for me, the LG thing, because I like the fact that teams should have a good sub. I like the rec situation.
Yeah, Rec nailed it, man.
Rec
they could have got Shane.
Right thing. It's the exact right thing. They have a coach. They have Shane, who is an ex-pro player. They could have just been lazy and gone, nah, be all right. But they knew they weren't like an elite level team. They were like, we should get a good sub, because if shit goes wrong, we can always sub him in and out. And they kept Denzel. The best thing is they kept Denz in, and then
they kept him there as well. That's the thing. It's not like they sent him back to Australia. Like, he's obviously
I'm pretty sure he's been getting paid. I'm pretty sure he's been getting paid in.
Yeah, 100% he is. Yeah, and like Spacely, same thing on Gen G. You know.
But that's the right way to do things. That is the right way to do things. You've got to, if you have that talent in depth, and shit like this happens, like someone's ill for an event or whatever happens, medical, team issues, regardless, I think it pays more to have that option of somebody who is still going to be able to play with you. If someone's ill or doesn't want to scrim, or you've got another fifth that's dedicated and is going to be there, you're going to have, the ability that if a player is being, I'm not saying it's happening, but if a player is being a terrible person and not contributing to the team, then that is genuinely an option for you to sub them out and go, right, we'll get somebody else in. Like, it's going to pay you out dividends in the future. And it's paid out for Rec so much, like, because they've had to make 2 roster changes and they're still doing well because those team chemistry still exists.
Oh, yeah.
It is a fantastic case in point of the subsystem.
Our sub's an old member of FC Black. I've got Tom Gravity.
Is it? Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I've got the hungry kids on my, like, everywhere. If someone goes missing, I've got another hungry guy on the bench. You know what I'm saying?
Some cracked kid just flying.
Yeah.
I wouldn't. Tom's probably like a lesser experienced person of me. He wears a hat and everything. It's great. I don't know. I never agreed with like a coach being a sub. I just never did.
Because then who makes the decisions in these sort of things?
Because it was mind blowing to me where people were like, right, there is a slight chance. There's probably like a 0.5% chance that you actually do use your sub. Like that's a fact. And if that 0.5 does happen, you kind of fucked yourself.
Down to what?
Because the coach is never going to play as much as a sub would.
I mean, my coach is playing 24/7. I wouldn't put him on the bench, but yeah, I've never agreed with coaches being a sub unless the coach is like, let's say like a Facento.
Yeah.
He's like been playing, he's qualified for the league, and he probably still carries on playing. But I don't know, like it's like putting Mud Dog as your coach, as your sub player, just to have someone there. You know what I'm saying?
I think Crowder's the sub on 100 Thieves right now.
Yeah.
But
because he's
he
played.
Still plays, right? Yeah.
Yeah, he's played.
Yeah, there's different levels. Like for me, I still think if you have the opportunity, because there is good talent still probably out there you could get, and give that guy an opportunity, and you probably would pay them less as a sub. But just having that extra player there, so you've always got an extra guy to jump in for scrims, just any opportunity if you want to grind or practice something or help the coach out. Because coaches, I think, are becoming more and more important. Because they are. I think people are realizing that having that extra pair of eyes, having that guy that's outside the pressure of being in that roster, and being able to go, look, maybe you need to quit with the attitude, you are coming across a bit of a dick, or that you were argumentative, like an independent person. Because if you did, I'll take it for example, like say your team trait, right? And this is, I'm not saying this is going to happen or has happened. Say you and Matty were having an argument, right? Yeah. And you haven't played as bad as well, but you're pointing out a genuine mistake he's made. Like say, you shouldn't have rotated then or whatever. He can just turn around and go, well, you're shit. You don't drop nothing. I dropped the 1.2. Like,
yeah, that's
he can say that. And then automatically you're like, well, fuck, he's right. He is playing better than me, regardless of whether or not he made a mistake. A coach would be like, look, I don't care. This is still wrong. You are great. It's easy to bring it from a coach's point of view. It's easy to make adult decisions and adult changes to a team when you can be more objective. And that I like coaching, I like subs for that reason. I'm glad franchising is going to bring more of that to the fore, as well as probably an extra layer of general managers now you have to ask.
I mean, I just like the fact of like coaches take stress off the players, like so the players can just like play, and then if they need to speak to the coach, like the coach watches the scrims, and like even like having a manager like Ben, that takes a lot of stress off us. Like if I ordered food right now, as I was scrimming, Ben would go downstairs, grab me the food, plate it up for me, and then go back to his room. Like I'm not saying Ben's like I wait or anything like that, but like just having someone like that actually does help, and RJ as well. Like it just takes extra stress off the players, just so they can actually do what they're supposed to be doing, instead of like. Because like before you watch your own VOD, you try and write it all down yourself, and it's like it's crazy. It's crazy. Like I don't know how much it affects you, but like just having someone else do it for you, just
it makes a difference. Like from the professional level, like I mean, even like I play with Vortex quite a lot, like in Blackout, that sort of thing. And it's like, oh, you're coming on against, oh no, I'm watching VOD. Like it takes that extra like few hours out of your day at least. Like not having that coach there, so it's a like time is money at the end of the day.
Like we have other people doing our stuff for us, but like we sit there and watch VOD sometimes and stuff like that just to see like we watch our own VODs back, and sometimes we watch like other teams, but like I don't agree with like just fully like watching someone else's team and trying to counter it. Like you have your own way of playing, you know what I'm saying? Like if that works, it's working. So. It just I don't know. I just can't see putting a coach on the bench a good thing.
Next year it's going mental, isn't it? Because there's like I think it's 7-man rosters or something. So there's 5 and then 2 on the bench. I think
it's going to be more subs next year by the sounds of things.
And they'll probably go mental, and we'll have like sports psychologists and nutritionists, and it'll go.
100%, 100% coming.
It's going to be good. Like
I do need a nutritionist. I'm not going to get it.
I'm in, Trey. Eat what you want. We'll just work ourselves to death in the gym.
As soon as you said nutritionist, I was like, oh, here he is.
I've moved to.
You look great. Let's get a pint.
I look great until I take the clothes off. I just sit there. I'm like.
I'm not dealing with that part of it. I'm sorry.
I just sit there. I'm like, I shouldn't have had Chipotle today. Looking a bit chunky on the side. You know what I'm saying?
I also think because this was the LG topic. I think it being more and more of a business next year, like you're going to see coaches put more pressure on players, like because they're going to have to answer the higher up. You're going to have them answering to managers, who are then answering to owners. And if you're not getting the good results, that pressure is going to come down like a ton of bricks. Like players aren't going to be able to make their own decisions because a coach will be like, right, we need to do something here because, and he'll be your first point of contact. And he'll probably report on you to the manager up the line saying, look, these two aren't getting on, this is happening in the squad and all this sort of shit's going to go down because that coach isn't going to want to lose their job.
Do you know what management's going to say, though? Management's going to say, I don't give a fuck.
No, I disagree because that management is going to have pressure from the owner going, why aren't our team winning? I've just paid anywhere from 25 to 50 mil.
Yeah, but no, but like in other sports, people don't like each other and still play with each other. That's facts.
Yeah, and
that's why I hate COD.
Yeah, no, I agree, and that's what's going to happen next.
Me and Reese didn't really like each other for the longest amount of time, but we still played. We got numerous amount of seconds. You know what I'm saying? Like we were still making it work.
But that doesn't happen as often as it should, Trey.
I mean, yeah, that's because people are weird.
Yeah. And that won't happen next year because we'll be like, oh, you don't like him? Oh, that's a shame. We're paying you a crap ton of money a month. Get on and practice.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm literally saying. Like, it doesn't matter. Like, they're just gonna sit there and go, wait, you don't like him? I couldn't care less. You are playing with this guy.
Mm-hmm.
You two are unreal. Like, that's what it is. Like, if you're good at the game, then why aren't you playing together?
Yeah.
I mean, right now it's a situation where they just, I don't know, they probably just don't like Pierce or whatnot. That they're just sat there like, right, I'm not playing with him because I don't like him. I think if that happens, that's not happening next year.
Of course not. Like, bearing in mind, these investors and the venture capitalists are not going to give a shit about your personal feelings.
Yeah.
Your manager and your coach probably will do, but the owners.
Mike.
Your mic's and it's done it again.
Oh, he's mid rant as well.
He's going off as well.
Oh, he's about to pop off as well. That's crazy.
It's all right. We go again.
Look at him. He was about to start. Right. Oh, he's back.
I am. This is the thing, right? And I saw it in the chat right now. Here is the point, right? The investors are not going to care about your feelings. Like, it's just not going to happen. I'm really worried about my mic cutting out. But your coaches and your managers might. But you're going to be under pressure. Everybody's going to be under pressure to perform. When 25 to 50 million has been paid for a spot, every single person is now responsible. This shit about, I don't fancy playing today or whatever, like it doesn't matter anymore. It is irrelevant. You are not worth as a player as much to that brand if you're going to cost the team. Like, unless you're a super mega star and they need you for the branding or whatever, and even then, that is going to be seriously, your entire personality will be taken into account next year. It's not a friendship group. It's not an inner clique. It's going to be, can you deliver what I need?
They're choosing the best team they can possible.
Yeah.
Let's say
you've got to deliver next year.
Yeah. Let's say Pierce ends up with like the same team. They're gonna have to play with each other.
Yeah.
I'd be surprised if that ends up the same way though.
No, I'm just saying
I know.
Like,
yeah.
If it come down to it and they're like, oh well, we're gonna have to play with Pierce because let's say there was a draft and then like he's like the first guy and then they build a team around him, like, and it turns out to be the same team. Like they're gonna have to get on with it.
I don't understand why they aren't just trying to get on with it now. Like, how bad could it be? How much of a dickhead can he apparently be? Like,
I don't.
You spoke about a draft. That's another thing that's like super curious to me. Not like the actual aspects of it, but like,
I honestly don't think there'll be a draft.
No,
I don't think there'll be a draft. But here's my hypothetical.
I wouldn't want it.
Here's my hypothetical. I don't think people realize, like, if you look at the NFL, just how much various players' stock can drop just from a few social media tweets or just from a little bit of personality, because they look into your background. And if you've got a history of being that player who causes issues in a team, your stock will drop massively. Like, because organizations don't want trouble. It doesn't matter how good you are. If you're going to be a detriment or you're going to be trouble, you're going to be difficult to work with, then quite frankly, you're not actually going to be worth as much as somebody who isn't if they're around the same skill level. So you'll instantly drop that. Like, oh, yes, we've got one of the best players ever. But, if he doesn't gel well with the team or if he throws his toys out the pram, then all of a sudden your investment and your high draft pick is worth a lot less because you just can't use him. And I think players are going to have to start realizing that because that's the way that I believe the franchises will work next year. Is they're not going to just be going, oh, this is the best possible team. We also need people who are team players to get this shit done.
Oh yeah, for sure. And like it's a similar sort of thing to the whole censorship to some degree of what's going to happen on the socials. That's obviously a big change that we can think about, because we've seen how Overwatch is, and how if you say something that's a little bit questionable against the league, then and I think that honestly, if they do go down that super harsh route, it's going to change a lot from the fans.
I am absolutely screwed.
Yeah, exactly, because I love it, man. Like, our Twitter is the best, but
wait, I literally tweeted 3 weeks ago the game is garbage.
Yeah, exactly. You can't do any of that.
But you can't do that. But like, you're not the worst.
I literally got robbed. I had to.
Oh yeah, of course. That's
okay.
Well,
I was straight after the robbing.
But like,
you didn't get in trouble for that, did you?
Stuff on that from last year.
No, of course not.
No, I was gonna say.
Yeah. But no, I think
I would have been like, yo, come on, man.
Yeah. It's very curious because I don't know the full situation inside LG. I don't know everything that's.
Trey, what's happening?
I ain't telling you. They're my friends. Whatever's inside, like, obviously I know. Like, there's no like hiding that. Obviously I know. The way I say things is I'm just speculating with you guys when I actually know. But I'm not gonna say it.
Don't worry, we've all played that game.
Yeah, I'm not gonna say it because they're all my friends. You know, so I'm not gonna put anyone on blast. Yeah, it's just.
I don't think Gunless is coming back though.
Probably not. It's just a weird situation. Like,
I don't think that's happening.
Obviously, like, well, you've seen them at the league and stuff like that. The way they like, the way their team is like a vibe and stuff like that. It's just not there. So.
Yeah. All right, I'm going to take that as an opportunity to move on to our next topic.
Run it.
Our next topic is about denial.
Mm.
And this is interesting because I don't want to put this about the denial players on Call of Duty right now, because this is technically not about the current roster as much as it is about the massive social media backlash against them in regards to their CEO or ex-CEO, the 6'4" fully tatted guy. He's already had enough. Once Denial took over, like, it was a bad brand, and they took it over and supposedly paid everybody. And I was like, you know what, benefit of the doubt. Videos come out. It's like, oh well, that's stupid. Then they helped Trey and Red Reserve out. I'm like, oh, that's not too bad. And then they go back again and go, oh, we're just not going to pay the. I think it's not paid the French players. Come out and said, we're not.
Haven't paid the org yet that they bought the spot.
Yeah, over time.
Haven't paid the org.
Still outstanding.
And then
they
again,
probably owe us money at this point.
I mean, that's crazy to me though.
That they haven't paid the org.
Yeah.
I mean, for me, if you're overtime, you're not like, okay, just pay us before we sell you our very expensive.
Or at least have some sum up front.
Make a contract and say you have to pay us within 7, 12, 15, 30 days.
Or run it up.
What did they say? What did they say? Yeah. We'll pay you. We'll pay you. You go take the contract. Yeah. Take the league spot. When do you want paying? When do you want paying? Sometime soon. All right, yeah, nice. All right.
It's not 100. It's not like 20 quid, is it? It's
not. It makes no sense.
25k, something.
It's
like you sound shocked that they haven't paid you.
What I don't like is the fact that they did that call, like Natche did his whole Twitlonger thing, and like he turned around and said, "Oh, the contract's not valid. We're not paying you." And it's like, come on, mate. Like, it's so bad. It's so bad. There's no like trust or anything in some of these orgs anymore. It's just.
I mean, don't get me wrong. After the current team, like, I can't see really many people wanting to sign up with Denial after this.
No.
That COD team must be sitting there just checking their bank account, going,
refresh the bank account.
If it's like 1 minute late, they're just sweating, going, "Oh God!" Especially after like the red stuff, like with Bands Joe and Rated, from going to that situation to another one, like. I'd be
Trey's like,
please not again.
True, God. Jesus.
I just don't get it. I think the Denial brand is so tarnished now that I don't know whether I don't think they can ever come back from it. I just don't know what they would do with it other than try to soldier on.
It's a nice brand.
The jerseys.
Yeah, it used to be anyway. Like in terms of, it's a nice brand. Like they've got the hashtag on lock. The name's nice. The logo's nice.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Every single owner.
I just have no idea I have no idea what's going on there.
Yeah.
I haven't really spoke to him either. Like the only person I speak to is Joe.
Like even the owner, like straight away coming out with videos calling people like faggots and stuff, and you're like,
Jesus Christ, Chris!
He's just saying what he said.
Talk about dropping the yo, Chris, we're gonna need to edit on that one, bro.
Yeah, we'll cut the video. But like shit like that happening, like the 6'4" fully tatted video, you're just like, what? Like you are actually posting this on social media. You actually have.
And the other guy, what's the other guy's name?
That thing was the funniest thing I've ever seen.
Blackbeard, right? What a bloke he is! Like what? I'm mind blown at some of the stuff I'm seeing. And then you've got Zach, the CEO. His Twitter bio is like nothing personal, only business, or something like that. When you see that, you're like, oh man, it's
terrible business. It should be nothing bad, nothing personal, just terrible business.
Yeah, well, exactly. But
I mean, that whole situation is just weird to me.
Everything about it's weird. I mean, Denial has just been a comedy of errors from way back from the Denial land that still hasn't appeared. Like, for fuck's sake, what are you doing? Like,
I mean, I'm still, like I said, I'm still mind blown the fact that the orgs just moaned that they haven't paid him. Like, is there no writing there? Is it just?
Well, how will they overtime to be like, oh, it's our spot now? It's our spot.
Yeah,
come back.
The optic guys in.
You know, they haven't got the whole thing to fall back on that these guys don't have visas, etc., etc. Like that is just like like, there should be surely they signed a contract. Don't like? Could you imagine if they haven't said, oh yeah, we'll pay you? Like
what overtime?
Yeah.
Oh.
That's what I'm saying, bro. There's no way they've just gone.
Like that should be
Ego, take the spot. Ego, take the spot. Here's our bank details. You can send the money, like preferably within a month. They're like, oh, do you want a contract? No, we trust you. Like, there's nothing. Is there nothing there? Like, what?
It's gotta be, man. But that's weird. What's weird? I haven't heard anything about it since. So I mean, they must be pursuing legal channels, and I guess they're just keeping it off the timeline because.
I mean,
like,
I don't even know at that point.
Because every time someone puts it on the timeline, then everyone starts talking about, oh, it's unprofessional. Put these things on Twitter. Should be done behind the scenes, you know. But then it's like, without that being done, then maybe nobody knows. We don't talk about it.
I mean, Twitter's the best way to get it out there, though.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Denial can't buy a positive headline at the moment. And even if they did, they'd probably charge it back. But I don't.
Very good.
Bryce has had that one saved.
Yeah, that was.
You see that pencil he had in his hand before?
No wonder he was late. He was thinking of a great pun.
It was a good pun. I don't know. For me, like, just everything about that brand now is annoying me because here's the thing: I like the players on Denial's COD team right now. I don't know about the rest of the org's business, and I'm worried for them. I'm worried for them in regards to, is this shit gonna happen more? And at the moment, they've said nothing, so I think everything is okay from their regard. I know.
Now is bio as well. And obviously we've got the Brack thing where he's like not contracted or whatever's going on.
I mean, he says he isn't. I don't know, like if he.
Yeah.
I mean, on street, I seen the clip. He was like, "I'm not contracted, so I don't have to have him in my bio."
I mean, it's all strange. Like, obviously, there's only a few more months here till franchising when this, but like, it's still obviously still horrible that they have to. I'm hoping they're not dealing with.
No. So here's the thing:
situation given the red stuff.
To get a franchise spot, they actually also have to approve you. And
of course.
Activision is going, oh yeah, this is like a great brand. We should totally, let's get them a franchise.
Yeah, no,
they're probably sat there like, yeah, we love the controversy. Get them.
Well, then the San Francisco 6 foot and tatted.
70 mil or whatever the hell they're paying nowadays.
Oh well, apparently Bance doesn't have Denial related to his bio either.
Yeah.
So maybe everything's not okay over there. It's just comedy. I think, was it Clay and Cap were having a conversation saying they wish they never won champs for Denial?
Yeah.
Well, it just gave him like a staple. You know what I'm saying? Like,
look, those jerseys are sick though.
We won champs with Denial. Like, we've won a championship. We're a good org. Like,
yeah.
I mean, I'm glad to see like the worst org get ironed out in a way.
Mm-hmm.
Like, Like if they're not here, like I don't know the situation with Denial. Like if they're like all I've seen is they haven't paid the Frenchies, and the chargeback thing I think was a mistake. Like from what I seen from the tweets of the guy that actually did say that they charged back. So
Yeah,
I
because
don't know.
he came
I don't
out
know
with
what
another
the
tweet.
situation is
Right.
over there,
So,
but I hope it's all like getting sorted out.
but as Bryce says, there's no positive PR right now, is there? Like,
No.
there's nothing coming out. No one's saying like, I mean,
I know Sir Scoots, who's like a big name.
it was a CS or something, was it?
Well, yeah, I mean, Sir Scoots has been around for a long time, and he's like
he paid for
old hat in the
their
ring. Yeah.
yeah.
So he was XEG. He was involved with that. Like he had a frag something. He sold to MLG a long time ago. Heavily in the CS stuff. He does the CSPA, which is basically like a union for CS players. He's kind of a very well known and respected figure in esports, and he's tweeting out daily. Saying, Denial, please release your players because this is clearly you've attained them fraudulently. You're clearly a no good org. And he's on like day 12. He's just tweeting out every single day saying you guys are complete
I need to
scumbags.
go on his Twitter.
No, that's not. I think today he paid for like some Denial team that they have in another esport to like attend some event because Denial hadn't sorted it or something.
Oh, really?
Maybe I thought that's what you're gonna say, but I'll look it up now. But
yeah, like he's going at them because he doesn't like scumbags. Let's have a little look. I'm just bringing it up now. His day 14. And he says, if you truly want to gain any trust back in this industry, do the right thing and release all your current players from their contracts. Deceptive practices we use to recruit most of them, so fix it, please.
Superb, isn't it? Esports, ladies and gents.
It's crazy. No, they're near the top end of the scumbags list here on organizations at this point. But yeah, I just think some of the shit they've been doing is just it's actually unbelievable. It's unbelievable. Irrelevant of this whole. They're fucked. They fucked it essentially at this point.
Oh yeah. It's because he's tweeting everybody. Like he's trying to drop them. We've got people from Team Liquid saying any CS:GO players never play for them. Denial. Like, how do you fix? You can't even fix that. I'm just glad that at the moment we haven't had any stories coming out from COD, and I fingers crossed that everything's okay over there. Because I'd really hate for like those guys to walk into another shit scenario. So. I don't know. I don't know. For me, I'm glad we're going to see the end of this, or hopefully see the end of this in like 3 months.
Hopefully.
I mean,
it's not the only scumbags we've had in the last few months anyway. So between God knows what else. Let's go for questions from the chat now because we don't want to overrun into the CWL. The CWL is starting its pro league. And we do want to watch it, and I'm sure everybody here does as well. So let's have a little look at questions in the chat, and we'll try and answer them as best we can. Do you think Rec will get a franchise spot? I'd love to see them get one.
Yes.
They're one of the only orgs that's in a rerun right. I think they will.
Yes.
Yeah, I think they've done
pretty much everything right.
I think Rec will 100% get a franchising spot.
So what I'm worried about is that like
I know the orgs. I know the org. I know the.
As far as the mold goes for a new organization, they have smashed it.
100%.
They have done
the
so
content's
much.
unreal. Content's unreal. They haven't done bad by the players. I'm friends with all the players. I've never heard them say a bad thing about the org.
Mm.
I mean, they were paying Dens on the bench.
They're literally the perfect example of a good org.
Yeah, they've done everything right. That's my worry with the draft is like I don't know if it is a thing and like. Because Activision are basically completely overhauling the scene, I'm not putting it out the realms of possibility that they go down this route. But if they did that, like what I'm worried about is that what I love so much about the Rec team and the Denial team as well to some degree is that all the players on there, except from Dens obviously on the bench, but they're all from the UK. It's a similar culture, it's an easy team to get behind. But if they go down the route of a draft, then those players are going to be split up. Dylan's going to get on an Unreal team at the top. And,
I mean, Dylan could have been an Unreal team anyway.
Yeah, well, exactly. Yeah, that's true.
I think we're past the time of like EU teams and stuff like that.
Yeah, but it's like that's what's nice about CS. I think in that we have because I guess the idea of franchising is that eventually I will be expected to support like the London team or whatever, even if half of them are from the States. But it's like I don't know if that's the route they're going down. It would just be nice that, if maybe when Rec get the franchise spot, it would be lovely that they could actually keep the team and keep what they've built with them this year.
I would be so surprised if it ended up being a draft. I'd be very surprised.
I mean, the draft thing would just be stupid for the pure fact of like
rules and everything. It's
people not even that. It's just people have already signed players.
That's
because then it memeans you have to void all your contracts
or something.
Yeah, it's
like, do you lose your like? Because there's a thing in COD where there's like a franchise player where that guy's like the guy for that org.
Mm-hmm.
Like, do you just lose him?
The way it was explained to me is the only potential way it could happen is I believe it was the NBA who had an expansion draft, and basically what we'll get to protect some players under signature, everybody else would have to declare themselves eligible for the draft. Now, when you go into that draft, the other big issue is who gets first pick. I imagine the people who don't protect will get it, and then you probably snake draft your way through it until it's all equal. But it seems like so much stuff to deal with straight out the gate. I'll be honest with you, I actually love the NFL draft. I think it would be great if that system was in place after this year, potentially.
You love an NFL reference.
Wait, I am not against the draft. I think the draft would be hilarious. I think it'd be fun.
But it also has to come with a salary cap because of the way teams trade players and so on and so forth, and you have to make room in that salary cap. It doesn't work quite as well because you have a limited roster compared to what is like 53 in American football. Like you have to have 53 players. I mean, maybe like the NBA is maybe better to kind of draw comparisons between because of the smaller sizes. But I don't know. It's very interesting to see how that will work. I would like to see it after this year. Any 18-year-old declares himself eligible. The worst team to get first pick. I think it would work great. Look at the people who come up this year. Can you imagine how hype you would be at the end of the year?
How do you determine a worst team?
Who league standings probably. League standings and into the final thing. I'm sure there'll be a way because like they do it in the NFL, like your record, and then whoever doesn't make playoffs gets.
You've also got to understand that Denial got given a 2-9 team. EG got given a 1 and whatever team, like.
Oh yeah, but at the same time,
that doesn't mean they're bad.
No. But then maybe this year would be random. Maybe next year would be like, if you don't make playoffs, then you're in one spot, and then it goes worst record first thing, and then when you get and how far you get in the playoffs, is basically the reverse. So if you win it, you get last pick in that round of the draft. But it's very interesting to see how that would work out, and I'm actually all for it.
Quite exciting, yeah.
After this year, because imagine how hype it would be for like the 18-year-olds going, I'm eligible, bang, all the speculation, everybody like, oh, who are we getting? Who's making room in their roster? It's the LA Valiant have first pick in the draft. Who is the number one draft pick out of the 18-year-olds? I'd be hyped as shit to find out who goes first pick. Because ultimately that player will be like super hyped up. There'll be loads of people looking at him. They'll be trying to figure out, is he good enough? Is he going to be a bust? Automatically, that player's bang in the spotlight as an amateur. It'd be awesome. But we need to move on because it's supposed to be quick. And we've answered one.
Well.
Yeah. Rab, how do you get your teeth so pearly white?
Not even that white light. It's just the lighting. Have the light bouncing off the wall. Yeah, there you go. Good lighting.
Love it.
101.
When did I last get a haircut? Just before London.
Yeah, it's
London 2012.
Thank you. Where do you see Gunless going to? I personally think Splice.
I personally think he's stuck on the bench.
I think Theory said like either Splice or Gen G, but I don't see many other teams taking. I mean,
well, you guys, like the way I see it, like
the way
I see it, LG need to make changes, and they're not going to trade Gunless for some average player.
Yeah,
it's Gunless, like best player in the game. No matter what you say about his attitude or like how the vibes with him are, like he is the best player in the game or one of.
Yeah.
That makes the game look so easy. It's crazy.
You guys reckon Splice will make a change? I think so.
Yeah, it's been rumored
Based
for a
on
while.
I think I mean, Yeah, that was.
I think they will. I'm intrigued to see what the roster changes will be after Anaheim, because you have 3 days to make a change.
Yeah, it's like 17th to the 20th. It's mad. You got like
you have 3 days to make a change.
Some lawyer's going to be.
especially
And let me tell you, making a change is not just we want him. It's
yeah, not like it used to.
especially if you're buying out someone's contract. That is,
and especially considering Anaheim will have bearing on what has to be changed as well. That's for the most of people as well. So 3 days is not really a lot of time.
It'd be like what Slasher did last year when he like lost on Envy, and then he just goes on.
Takes people 3 days to decide what team they want to join.
Yeah, and then if the whole imagine if the whole optic team like all that shit happening. Oh my god, that'll be ridiculous.
Absolutely nuts.
Why is Rab the goat? I don't think you look like a goat, Rab. That's very mean.
Chill.
I don't know if you want to answer this one, Trey, and we can move on. But people are asking how good you think Denial is at the moment.
Team,
yeah, the team.
Oh, I'll put him in order. Like,
No. Team.
I think the team's good. I think they changed. They bring in Alex and Brack. I still think Brack's unreal. Like,
he's very good.
I was saying if Celium or Matt didn't exist on this planet, I'd play with Brack, but they do. So
I think Bance has been playing better.
Yeah,
he was saying in our team he feels so like comfortable running a sub, and I was running a sub in our team. We tried it a few times, but like it wasn't working to the best where I was running a sub. Joe was saying I was more like selfless and stuff like that, and just doing what's needed to be done. So, but I don't think the team's bad. I think their loss to 100 Thieves yesterday was just because they didn't win the S&D. Like, they stole the respawn they needed to. They needed to take the S&D to go game 5. That's what I was saying to Matt. And then Matt was also saying if Alex plays well, like, they'll be a hard team to beat.
Yeah, he seems to have stepped up now. Because, like, when they picked him up, like, yes, okay, he wasn't the Alex from last year when they picked him up. He even in like the open bracket stuff, like when we'd seen him, he didn't even seem like the best player on Team Sweden, but he stepped up. He's getting there now. So I think they're a team that'll get progressively better.
People seem to have this weird representation that I dislike the whole team. When it's not even the case. Me and Reese just didn't get along in terms of like in game.
I think it's more scraps and.
I mean, at the end of it was like I was in the house when all that stuff was going down. It was quite funny, to be fair. Like they were just tweeting each other. Like Reese was in the living room, Matt was in his bedroom. It was just quite. It was funny to be around. But like I said, people have some weird representation that like I dislike everyone on that team, and that's not the case. Me and Ben have been friends for God knows how long. I still talk to Joe like pretty like. I wouldn't say every day since he's been at the league. I've been like playing ranked with him and stuff like that. But like, I'll always shoot him a message on WhatsApp and stuff like that. Like they're still my friends, and I don't think they're a bad team at all. Like they're gonna be good at S&D. Reese and Joe have been unreal at S&D ever since COD's been a thing. It's just unfortunate that they lost that S&D yesterday to 100 Thieves, and that's the reason why they lost 3-1.
100 Thieves hardpoint is just unbelievable right now as well. So
I mean, they were taking them to it. They were tied at one point, and then I looked back at my screen because I was screaming at the time. They were tied, and I looked back again. They were 100 points down. It was like, I mean, that's just how 100 Thieves are. Like Reese's tweet was right. It was Operation Steal a Respawn.
Yeah,
and they done that. They just didn't take the S&D, which is just like I said. Like they're probably like us, but reverse. We need to take their respawns one in, like, because our S&D is not great. We need to take respawns while they need to take S&Ds.
Yeah. All right. Yeah. Okay. I think that sums up quite nicely. This one's a bit interesting. Is Gunners on the Road becoming the next Parasite in that he's quickly burning a lot of bridges? I don't think it's the same thing.
It's definitely...
Not yet. Parasite was like over 3 years. He just kept setting fire to everything he walked into.
I think Gunless has got a mindset of where if he's not winning, the team's not right for him.
Yeah.
Yeah. Exactly.
But I was saying this to people, like, if everyone had that mindset, no one would have a team. Like
yeah.
There's always a superstar player on a team where he's not winning. That's a fact.
Yeah.
And Gunless has definitely got some like work to do, I guess, in that aspect though, because if you want to be remembered as one of the absolute all-time greats, like you need to be able to have a team that can last the test of time.
I mean, like if you look at it from football, Messi's not winning the Champions League. I just want to leave Barcelona. No.
Yeah, that's true, but it's like not quite the same when they're winning, domestic stuff. So
Oh yeah, of course, but like they're not even winning league games.
Yeah, I mean, yes, I don't know.
I get the
that-
comparison. I get the
Yeah.
comparison.
Like if you're not winning, like you're not always gonna win. Like
You can't win everything.
yeah, like Optics won one event the whole year. They don't hate each other.
Yeah, for sure. It's like I just
Probably hate management, but that's another story.
It's all about getting along with each other and like working to prove that you can win, and the vibes come with it.
Yeah, that's true. All right, next question. Will you try to bring Edgar to the show? I know he has done some previously. Possibly. Like we spoke to Edgar before. He wanted to come on and he wasn't able to. Maybe. I don't know. It's a difficult one. I would quite happily have him on if he wants to come on and we've got something to talk about, but it's very much we bring people on with more general knowledge because of the topics per week, and we don't always know exactly what the hottest topic is going to be of that week. So we don't know too far in advance what his expertise would be. Like if we end up talking about like game results, it's not really his expertise. But yeah, I'm happy to have anybody on really. If the Optic players are sold individually, do we see confirmed league orgs like NYXL etc. make an early entry to the COD by selling some of them from finishing out the year?
Potentially.
It's not a bad investment. It's not a bad investment.
Yeah, I guess so.
I don't think they will.
I somehow doubt. I mean, it'd be mental, wouldn't it?
If they're getting sold one by one, then what's the team?
Yeah, God knows.
I
know for a fact. I know like if Scump goes to NYXL by himself, then he's not going to get a team that he wants.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. What's the next one? Didn't Tom say that they were paying for his sports psychologist or something? This is about the Tommy information. I don't really have any information on Tommy other than I hope he gets all the help he needs and takes the rest and everything. He's been grinding for a decade. And if anybody deserves some time off, it's that man who's been up and down rosters and constantly proven himself time and time again. So I just
I've seen he's been doing a lot of traveling, which is nice to see. Like taking
for
time
sure.
for himself.
I wish him all. I wish him the best.
I personally like think he just burnt himself out. Like you said, Bryce, he's been doing it for a decade. He's been streaming like every single day, doing crazy hours. He just needs to take a break.
A lot of people think it's just sitting there playing games, which in a
Listen,
certain respect
I
it
stream-
is, but it's
2 days ago, I streamed for 12 hours, and my word, I was fucked.
Yeah.
it's an exhausting thing. Mentally
It's like
taxing.
it's not even acting different. It's just like having to entertain like however many people you've got in the chat and not be boring. You always got to be like upbeat and stuff like that. Like you're not acting fake, but like you kind of are in a way. You know what I'm saying?
Nah, for sure. Unless it comes crazy
you can't-
natural to people, it's
You
so
can't crack a
tough.
smile for 12 hours.
Yeah, exactly.
I was just sat there slouched in my chair. I was losing full.
It's like flight attendants and stuff. They get like so because they have to always fake a smile the whole time. There's like
There's beds on aeroplanes for them though. They get a dip off.
yeah.
That is facts.
Yeah, there
They
it
get the
is.
exit row seat while I'm sat there getting scrunched by a seat in front of me.
All right, let's get through these things here because the COD League is close to starting.
You got 12 minutes.
I got 12 minutes.
We'll do 12 minutes of questions, Bryce.
12 minutes. All right. Thank you, Jono. I did pay for this haircut. I just didn't tell him what I did with it afterwards. If Optic wasn't a thing, do you think the viewership would plummet? I don't know.
I mean, we
throwing
talking like
I was thinking this year, like when the whole Optic thing was about, like like them like coming out and like they're like, oh, the viewership's gonna go down. Do they support the org or do they support the players?
I think a percentage, like we were saying before, a smaller percentage is the org, a bigger percentage is the players. I think.
Like, because I genuinely don't think I think the viewership would rise if they joined Immortals.
I mean, I don't really see why people wouldn't tune in to see how their players are doing on a different org, at least in the very short
That's what I'm
term.
saying.
I think a little bit further, maybe people will. But I think it's going to have a huge impact. When franchising comes around anyway, then it's like we just start from scratch, to be honest.
What could you compare it to? Like to take it like the football. Like I've supported Newcastle all my life. If Newcastle suddenly disappeared off the face of the planet, and all the other players on that team went to different teams, would I support those players?
Would you stop watching? Would you stop watching football?
I wouldn't stop watching football.
Would you watch it as much? See, my point here is that
I don't know.
I enjoy watching Call of Duty when I feel like I have skin in the game. Like when I'm casting, I'm objective. But if I'm just at home watching, I generally will make sure I tune in more for the teams I want to see.
Yeah,
But that, again, part of that's again, I know which is going to be a bad game, which is not going to be a bad game. So I just tune out the bad games because I know they're going to be bad. But I always feel like it's pretty much like I know the players personally, or I'm going to be a fan of that team. Like I'm going to want to watch that team more, regardless of the fact that I end up watching basically all of them anyway. There are teams I feel more connected to. So I can understand like why people don't always watch all of Call of Duty when there's like 12 hours a day. Maybe you do want to just catch your teams. So I don't know what would happen without the OG. I don't think it would be as big as spikes anymore because you kind of see. I mean, they've come out with the graphs of it of how optics spike it and come up and down. But
take me for instance, Bryce. Me and you are friends.
Yeah, I watch those games.
Exactly. Have you stopped watching me and Matt or like Reese and Joe? Or Ben, because they've gone on different teams.
No, but I think that's a little bit different because I support players I know rather than teams because of.
Oh that's what I'm getting at though. Like, do the players support Scump or do they support OG?
Yeah, that's true. That is very true. Actually, yeah. I think you could bump if you saw Scump somewhere else.
Yeah, like that's what I'm saying. Like, are people like, I'm not watching Scump anymore. He's on Optic. They ain't gonna say that, are they? Yeah. Scump's on Immortals. Let's go. IMT Scump, run it.
It probably will be.
They're gonna say.
Yeah, it's exactly that. Like,
let's see what happens.
Like, it's not the brand, it's the players.
Even though I'd be very disappointed if the brand leaves in general.
I think
there is something to be said for the brand, but yeah, I think mostly I don't think short term it'll be that big of a deal. I think people will still be excited to see what the Optic guys are up to, and the next season everything changes anyway. So
yeah, that's true. All right, let's have a little look at the next question. There's a lot of people going over some of the stuff we've been saying. Oh my God, this is just a lot of comments about Gunless and LG. Jesus. Oh, there we go. Trey, do you ever struggle to catch breath being in the same teams as Scraps?
What do you mean?
I don't really know what that means. I'm guessing he's asking maybe about the relationship between you and Matty and how the comms go down or the in-team chemistry or whatever.
I mean, I've teamed with Matty since like halfway through World War II, which is it's basically been a year now. Yeah. And he's probably like one of my like closest friends in terms of like me and him just click like that. There was a time at the league where I lost a 1v2. It was literally like 2 weeks ago. I lost a 1v2. Matt was like, yeah, we probably would have won that game if we won that 1v2. And I said to him, Matt, it's a 1v2. I'm not supposed to win it. He goes, yeah, but you put yourself in a shit situation to win it. And then we won the game. We won the game after, and he goes, I was like, Matt, I was in a 1v2. I don't know what you want me to do. He was like, you could have won it. Then before he went to go do the interview, he goes, yeah, I don't know why I said that. I was just,
he's a clown, mate.
We just we just hugged it out and just laughed about it. Like,
Jesus,
that's just how. Like, I'm gonna be living with him in 5 days again, so it's gonna be great.
That must be comedy.
Matt's hilarious. Matt is.
The next question's interesting because obviously you and Matty are close. Who is better look? This is directly at you, Trey, as well. Who is better looking, Scraps or Wuskins?
Matty's a dime.
All right. Okay. I'm actually going to ask the rest of you.
Listen, they are twins, so they're both.
They don't look the same at all. Not anymore.
Not anymore. But they're still twins, though. You can't take that.
It used to be a lot worse. Like what they look like both look like each other. 100%.
Yeah, that little bit of glow up. Who would know living in America and having that disposable income would allow you to look better?
Listen, let's just say a lot of Uber Eats and a lot of Postmates. I somehow lost weight though. That's great. It's crazy.
Let's keep on going. We want Swan. That's an interesting one. We've tried to get Callum Swan on.
Can't even get a reply to a DM these days. You know, I have a beer with my boy in London, and I can't even get a reply to a DM. It's
he was actually shooting bots with me.
I can't even get a game with him anymore, man. Like he's just.
I've actually been playing with Swan the past few days. Actually,
I've seen that actually. My friends have seen it.
Yeah. Have you been streaming much lately? Because I used to love watching streams. I don't know. Yeah. Back on it. Great fire.
Here's a question from a sports psychologist. and this is apparently this is regarding Tommy, but I think I'm going to take it more general than that. Do you think the media content drive from orgs now is adding extra players on, adding extra pressure onto a player's shoulders right now? I don't think I don't think it's that big of a thing in a weekly schedule. Like, because the way Rec does it is they have it like a week of content, and then that's good for like the next 2 months. And a lot of it's fun. Like, it's not like super stressful on the players.
I mean,
like,
it all depends what it is.
Yeah.
Are they asking them to stream? Because the way like I said, the way I see about streaming is if you stream for 6 hours, you're not doing anything anyway. Like if you're sitting there playing ranked, you might as well just whack up your stream. You don't even have to have your chat open. Like if they want content, like you can stream for 6 hours. It's just when it's like repetitive, doing it like every single day, and like you're not having fun with it. If you're not having fun with it, there's probably no point in you doing it. Like
I think Rec do it the right way in that like a lot of their like at least because Chad is usually in the videos, and a lot of the things that they go for are kind of like part of it is like team building, you know, and like that's an element of what they've tried to do with their content, which I think works super well because it's not like the guys are just effectively hanging out with their friends, making content for the team, but at the same time, there's also like a periphery benefit. So I think Rec have honestly hit the nail on the head. But I think to some degree that I think Trey's right. Like if people are being forced to stream, then it's not for everyone by any means. But the way Rec have done it, I think, is a good model to follow.
Yeah, I think so.
They just do fun content.
Oh, their content's fucking great
like,
to watch.
Like they're not sitting there in a house
absolutely.
like being followed about doing a vlog. They're riding buggies, they're shooting guns, they're
It's
doing
not a stressful situations, is it?
I think the only stressful thing about what they do is they're always outside doing it. And let me tell you, Vegas is Vegas is no joke. That place is.
I dried up like a prune when we
I
were
went
there, bro.
I went outside to pick up my food one time with no shoes on. I was like, all right, this should be fun. Just quick walk out. My feet were on fire, bro. I couldn't move. I was jumping on the spot.
I'd be more worried about the fact the team don't actually cook in the house and just continuously order in than I would be worried about the content drive. Jesus. Yeah. All right. I think last question. And it's another one from the sports psychologist because I think it's a good question, and hopefully we get it done in the next 2 minutes. Should orgs have a team office where players go to work instead of team houses, and each players have their own apartments? 24 hours a day in contact with your colleagues has to cause extra pressure. I think it can do. I think team houses are probably a little bit overrated, unless you're trying to film like content and stuff.
Why don't we ask somebody who's been in a team house? What do you reckon, Trey?
Trey, what do you reckon?
Oh, team houses are bad.
I think they are.
Wait, listen, we're getting a team house. Like FaZe is getting me and Matty a team house, but
it's not all 5 of you.
We're not all there.
Yeah.
Like I think that's where the problem is. Like we said to these like you can move in, like that's no issue. Like if you want to come move in, you can. Like obviously like we will like each other, so it's like no issue. But like obviously they've just sat there and thought we live in America, we don't really need to move over. Like
are they all East Coast? You're
like what?
Are you all East Coast?
Yes. So which is central.
But it's not like he's on the other side of the country though.
Oh no. Like that's what I'm saying. Like being with 5-6 people every single day for months on end, like can get tedious. Like I'm not gonna gas it. But that's why, like we said, we could do apartments, we could do a house, but like we knew for a fact that not the whole team's gonna move over. Like, so that's what helped us out really. Because I know how it is. Like, it does get tedious, especially when like you have a bad day of scrims. You're just sat there arguing. It's like,
well, it's like the thought of like if like
space.
Anyone in the chat just like works in a normal office. Like I've worked in an office before, and you know you sometimes have disagreements with people at work. You don't like everybody you work with. Imagine like going home and living in the same house.
Still there, like...
Yeah, it's like
I think the apartment vibe is fun. Like I'm in an apartment right now. I'm just living life, fucking. But I also think like being with your friends as well is like a key part of like getting the vibes on point.
Okay.
Like, me and Matty as a pair is just. I think it works good. I think it works well.
Awesome. All right, and that brings us to 8 o'clock. So, final statements. Rab, anything you want to come shout out?
Not particularly. Thanks for supporting the YouTube for those of you who are still here that are watching it. And yeah, hopefully the next couple of weeks will be good. Probably going to do a quiz actually this Saturday on like the optic stuff. So we've been doing this thing on Kahoot, and it seems to be working kind of well as long as no one comes along and sends a load of bots in. So keep tuned for that, is what I'd say. Fair
enough. From you, Trey?
Absolutely nothing.
Love it. All right. Tunn?
Nothing from me. I'll maybe try and get the graphics fixed for you if I can get around to it, pal.
Yeah, mate.
Yeah, actually, feedback in the chat about the graphics. I think they look good, but obviously, like we'll work on some things. We'll hopefully get some giveaways sorted out for this season, if you like, as well. But nothing in particular from me.
Can I get some giveaways, Chris?
Bro, you don't need anything. Come on,
I'm like a regular.
Phase, bro.
Yeah. Right, what are we going to give away that you actually care about? Like another Gucci jacket or something? Like, come on.
Don't Gucci anymore, though, Bryce.
It's getting another
facts. Chris knows me more than you know me.
Yeah, so you don't play with me anymore, Trey. Anyway, that is going to be the end of this episode. The one last thing I do want to bring up very quickly. We've been talking about a franchising episode for quite a while. This has been pushed back for many reasons and will have to continue to be pushed back. And I'll tell you why. We can't talk about some legal stuff, especially when we get told things. Which I now have been told some stuff, which makes it very difficult for me to be open, honest, and objective with people, which is basically the point of this podcast, is we tell people as much as we can. So basically, we're going to have to wait until the next round of information about franchising comes out to then get the right people in and then talk about it officially.
Yeah, we're not talking about pictures that Burness posting on Reddit.
Yeah, because we can't really discuss those because of obviously me and Chris do work at CWL events and stuff. So as much as we could talk about it,
I went to pay for, bro.
Yeah. So we don't want to mislead people who want to know stuff. We don't want to sit here and pretend we don't know. So we have to wait for the next official load of information to come out, and then we will be putting together as many people as possible for a big podcast from around the industry. So that's all I wanted to say for it. But this has been Spitfire. We are now officially in season 2. The CWL is, of course, on. So go on to twitch.tv/Call of Duty. Thank you all for watching, and we'll see you next time.